Hi, JP Fournier of the Movie Jerks here. And as we make our way into another October, we at the Movie Jerks will once again be counting the days until Halloween. And while a lot of us will be experimenting on new Halloween traditions, by not engaging in large groups and heavily crowded Halloween events for a second year, the one thing that we can always count on is watching horror movies. And to keep our movie watching fresh and adventurous, we challenge ourselves each year to watch 31 horror films that we have never seen in the 31 days of October. This, of course, does cause us to see a lot of poor, low quality, and questionable films.
This is some crazy white people shit. I'm out!
But every now and then we do stumble upon a gem. That seems to have been misunderstood, poorly marketed, or missed upon release. So it has become tradition for us each year to focus on a few horror subgenres and suggest films that we believe deserve more attention. In our past horror recommendation videos, we have mentioned monster movies. This time, we would like to center more directly on one of the most popular monsters out there. And no, we still haven't gotten over all of our cases of zombie fatigue. So this time we would like to focus on a monster that has been revamped and altered ever since it first hit the silver screen. And that is the vampire. From the classic novel Bram Stoker's Dracula, the vampire has been a favorite movie monster right from the silent era. At the core, it is a half-human, half-bat creature that is eternally cursed to feed off the blood of living creatures. The vampire is a parasitic being that gains nourishment through the source of other living beings. Throughout the years, we have seen vampires reflect the misunderstood and mistrusted loners, the rebellious teenagers, the sexual deviants, the relentless lovers, and monstrous murderers. They are often connected to the fringe groups that are on the outskirts of society. Used correctly, the vampire is a cursed being and makes a perfect metaphor for addictions, diseases, and mental illness.
Finger licking good.
Used incorrectly, it can be used for sparkling whiny teens. Some of our favorite vampire films are Bram Stoker's Dracula and the emotionally deep and very haunting Let the Right Ones In. But the vampire film that we believe deserves more attention is Innocent Blood. A thirsty vampire who feeds on bad guys finds a new threat when she doesn't completely dispose of one of her victims. Director John Landis delivers a love letter to both mob films and vampire films all in one package. This film had some trouble upon release, as critics and early screening audiences complained about Anne Perelot's French accent was too strong for people to understand.
How the hell do I get to Shadyside?
That's probably not a Canadian complaint. The film is beautifully shot in Pittsburgh during January snowfall, with a blend of comedy, action, gore, and even a bit of romance. It is a rare genre mix that is strong on all genres, thanks to an incredible cast of great character actors, like Chaz Palminteri, Angela Bassett, like Don Rickles.
There's nothing in the fucking Constitution clearer than the freedom from unreasonable searches. And this isn't unreasonable, it's demented.
And Robert Loggia.
Call me Sal.
Plus a handful of cameos that will satisfy movie and horror fans. Filmed in 1992, it's nearly 20 years later, and the special effects are still impressive, even by today's standards. Oh, and let's not forget Robert Loggia. Children horrors. When people are asked what film scares them the most, it's not uncommon for people to reach back to their past and mention a film that they saw as a child that has stuck with them right to their adulthood. Now, we're not talking about horror movies where children are the monsters, or children films that are so innocent that they accidentally become scary. No, we're talking about horror films that are made for children as the audience. Scaring children has been a popular tradition even before the invention of film, often used in nursery rhymes and folk tales in the purpose of teaching moral lessons. Some cultures still relish in the art of scaring children today. Some of the most iconic and popular children films of all time have moments that are meant to scare. From The Wizard of Oz,
How about a little fire, Scarecrow?
Snow White,
Yes, girlie. Now, make a wish. And take a bite.
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory,
Is the Grizzly Reaper mowing? Yes! The danger must be growing, for the rowers keep on rowing!
and even The Sound of Music.
Something wrong with your car, Captain?
Some of our favorite children films with deliberate scary scenes are Gremlins, Coraline,
1, 2, 3! What are you doing?
and we have already mentioned in a past video our love for The Monster Squad. But the children's horror that we believe deserves more attention, and it still surprises us to this day that it was meant for children, is The Gate. In a small Canadian town, two boys discover a sinkhole in their backyard that is connected to hell. When they read off an enchanted spell, they unleash hell on earth. It's up to these little heroes, along with their older sister, to stop the forces of evil from destroying everything. The Gate was well ahead of its time.
Well, you want to come over later and mess around?
Sure. Yeah. Guess we'll see you later, huh?
See you later.
Maybe not that ahead of its time. It's a low-budget Canadian horror that delivers some incredible special effects that are still mind-blowing today. The film is not afraid to put children in peril, causing its release to be shunned by certain critics. While most children horrors do tend to hold back on the scares and implied graphic violence, The Gate doesn't. This is an all-out scary film. It has one nasty trick after another. But even though this is a very frightening film for kids, I saw it when I was a kid, and I don't think it's messed me up at all. Oh, did I forget to mention? Innocent Blood has Robert Loggia.
Hiya, boys!
Found footage. The found footage technique is ideal for horror. One of the most common fears we all share is the fear of the unknown. And often, the found footage film enhances that fear by showing us something that we were not meant to see. What separates a good found footage from a not so good one is the ability to show an audience something they have never seen before. And the best of the best will top that by showing the audience something they didn't know they didn't want to see in the first place and never want to see again. This category is not so much a subgenre, but more of a technique of filming and telling a story. And every time we think that found footage films have run their course, something new comes along that defies our expectations. Some of the most popular found footage films are The Blair Witch Project.
I am so sorry for everything that has happened.
Paranormal Activity. And Cannibal Holocaust. But the found footage film that we think deserves more attention is Afflicted. Two traveling buddies, Derek and Cliff, set out on a vacation adventure with the intentions of filming the whole trip for travel channels. One night, Derek meets up with a lady at a bar and heads back to the apartment. Cliff then decides to prank his buddy by stepping into the room with cameras while Derek is getting intimate. You know, that old tomfoolery. But what he steps in on is Derek's near murder. And from that point on, Derek starts experiencing some strange afflictions, and it is up to the two to search the foreign country to find out what has happened to Derek. Written, directed, and starring Derek Lee and Cliff Prowse. The two use their real names to give the tale a sense of realism. The film's budget was roughly $318,000 and delivers spectacular special effects, camera tricks, and a mysterious storyline that just builds and builds with intensity till the final climax. This is what you would expect from a large-budget Hollywood blockbuster. We have some well-earned jump scares, some jaw-dropping gore effects, and decent performances. Afflicted is the perfect example of how to take found footage to the highest level. Dream horrors. There might be no cliche in horror films used quite as much as waking up from a nightmare.
Holy shit.
The nightmare sequence in horror films is often looked at as a lazy writing technique to slip in a quick scare while the story is still developing. Lots of horror films use this gimmick, and I mean lots. A whole lot. In this video, we like to focus on the movies about dreams, where the dreams themselves are not a cheap gimmick, but a plot device. Most recently, there has been numerous films dedicated to sleep paralysis, and that we blame on the documentary The Nightmare. The idea of invading someone's sleep, that moment where people are most vulnerable, either outside the body or in the dream, is a fear that is shared amongst many people. Everyone has experienced the power of nightmares and night terrors, and knows the effects they can have on someone's psyche. Also, the knowledge that our dreams are untethered by logic, physics, and go beyond our limits of our imagination can also be frightening. This can allow some truly creative visuals and very bizarre ideas to be shown on screen. Some of the great horror films that focus on dreams are Dreamscape,
You sick bastard!
The Cell,
Where do you come from?
and of course we couldn't tackle this subject without bringing up the godfather of nightmares himself, Freddy Krueger, in the Nightmare on Elm Street series. However, the dream film that we believe deserves more attention is Come True. A runaway teen suffering from sleep deprivation caused by some reoccurring nightmares agrees to take part in a dream experiment that will provide food and shelter in exchange for her as a guinea pig. As the experiments progress, her nightmares start to gain strength, leading her down a dark path that may have a sinister goal. Come True demonstrates some heavy influences from David Cronenberg, and all in the best ways, delivering psychedelic nightmare images mixed with body horror and the effect of abnormalities to the body and how it affects the mind. And the nightmare sequences are precisely that, nightmarish, floating through inhuman imagery that breaks the laws of physics and alters the images that our mind has already settled on. Going further into the plot would spoil some of the great surprises along the way. This is a film that rewards the viewers for paying attention. During its slow burn build-up, there's a few Chekhov guns that are laid out that may seem out of place at first, but will pay off in the end. Julia Sarah Stone delivers another fine performance, displaying the fear, confusion, and strain of her tormented sleep. The film is beautifully lit with a unique style to deliver an original concept that dives into multiple fears of the horrors of sleep. The term B-movie, or B-film, came out during the golden age of cinema. It referred to a low-budget film made for commercial purposes and with no intention of winning awards or gaining critical support. These films would lean more towards a more campy nature, either focusing on something completely outlandish, exploitive,
What do you want?
or something that's considered to be too daring. With the little budgetary support that they get, B-movies are often filled to the brim with poor performances,
I want to thank you for your display of public spirit. But I'm very busy, and my department is very busy. Whistling will escort you out for the last time.
terrible special effects, bad writing.
I've hacked into the most secret government and corporate secrets. The most secret.
And amateur directing.
Shark!
The term "it's so bad it's good" has become a perfect description of their attraction.
Oh my God!
Even the fake B-movies created most recently attracted newfound love for this category. However, we at the Movie Jerks don't believe it's an easy task to purposely create a truly good bad movie, unless there is a true filmmaking talent behind the lens, or someone who's completely insane.
Garbage day! Huh? No!
One particular film that we believe accomplishes this in spades and deserves more attention is Invasion, also known as Top of the Food Chain. In a small Canadian town, the local townsfolk have been having the worst luck. Their industrial nut plant has shut down. Their CATV antenna stopped broadcasting television programs. And the people are turning up mutilated and eaten. Lucky for them, they're getting a visit by atomic scientist Professor Carol Lamont, who's also an expert in cold fusion. With the help of a zany group of townsfolk, Professor Carol Lamont will have to pull out all the stops to solve the mystery of the devoured bodies, and hopefully fix the TV antenna in the process. Campbell Scott maintains a dry delivery throughout as Professor Carol Lamont, delivering an onslaught of brilliant wordplay, comical banter, and quotable dialogue.
Your government thinks there may be some sort of man-eating Sasquatch-type thing roaming the countryside.
Dear Lord.
Another theory is that a gang of genetically engineered serial killers is on the loose, possibly devil worshippers.
A genetically engineered band of devil-worshipping serial killers or a Sasquatch-type thing? I don't like the sound of that.
Twisting the stereotypes of 1950s sci-fi with a little dash of the old Lovecraftian cosmic horror. The film pokes fun at cliches from the early 50s sci-fi.
Greetings, moonmen and girls. I send warm salutations from all earthlings throughout the land, and in whose name I welcome you to our beautiful planet. Here, many interesting flora and fauna can be found.
Like the innocent lifestyle.
Good morning, Jan Bathgate. Would you like to perform the copulatory act with me?
The what?
The chauvinistic thinking.
I'm coming with you. So am I.
Absolutely not. It's too dangerous. You girls, stay here in the motel. Lock the doors, watch the windows, stay clothed.
And the aged concept of science.
Oh, now what did that? Wolves? A hyena? An unusually large feral cat?
No.
Invasion is just simply an innocent adult, sexually degenerate, gory space monster movie. And not to forget,
I'm heading back there now. Maybe we could go together?
All right, I'll follow you in my car.
I'm on foot.
I'll drive slowly.
Okay.
absurdly funny. And there you have it, 5 horror movies that we believe deserve more attention. If there's any horror films in these categories that you think deserves more attention, please let us know in the comments section. Also, if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to see other videos of this nature. And finally, for more information about the Movie Jerks, you can go to www.themoviejerks.ca.